Good morning. I'm back. Welcome to Who Am I? It's just my little show. So, I'm going to be honest with you. Um, I'm feeling a little on the schizophrenic side these days, which, if you analyze that through the eyes of the Who Am I information I've been giving out for the last 6 months, probably means somewhere I'm crossing my energy stream as I attempt to make my way in reality as opposed to just in theoretical land. What's my problem? Well, I watched my movie again yesterday. Excuse me, I'm having an issue with my eyelashes. Yesterday, I decided to watch The Lost Century again. Because I've been feeling a little disconnected. And the reason I have is because I see something that's true about the world around me, and I don't know how to bring it into reality. I believe that we don't need to be on fossil fuels. I believe that we have been lied to for over a century from our own government and that it matters. My own husband has spent his career, his 45-year career, working for the aerospace industry as it exists in I just don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. How do we end this travesty? How do we stop buying into the artificial paradigm that we have been handed by our who's handed it to us? Well, you know, in the end, we are responsible for who we are. And so I can say that someone has done this to us, and I would like to go out and fight against who has done this to us. But I know that the answer to this conundrum is for us to understand who we are. And then we will understand zero point energy, the Planck field, the source of all things, gravity, all that. We need to move our society into the 21st and beyond centuries. We are not in the 21st century. We are in the 20th century, whether you realize it or not. And all the stuff that seems so modern is actually, so much of it is archaic. Our energy system is absolutely archaic. And the only reason we keep doing it is because it's got a momentum. We've been doing it. Everybody's been doing it. And I'm not the energy expert. You're not the energy expert. He's not the energy expert. We leave it to the energy experts. I'm an expert in whatever I'm an expert in. Speech language pathology, or rocketry, or nursing, or construction, or whatever it is that you're doing, and you don't have any space, any bandwidth to add to our energy. The experts are in charge of that. And so we keep burning fossil fuels. And so we keep burning fossil fuels. And so we keep creating this artificial paradigm of scarcity that need not be king. We could get rid of world poverty in 20 years. It would be gone. I'm just, I don't know. I was a little discouraged yesterday as I was feeling the tremendous dichotomy between this show and what it is I'm trying to say. This message of peace and hope and energy and uh, the difference between that and then I look around, I pull up to the gas station, I gas up my car, I even attempt to have a conversation with anybody about anything real. We're all lost in our own little worlds. And I am too, in my own way. And actually, when I plug into the greater world, I find that again, I'm lost in my own little world. Nobody else is connected to this. Nobody else realizes how we have been duped. And our attention is sort of subtly pointed certain directions and guided in certain ways so that we don't change anything that's going on. There are people who are controlling the world, all the technology. They're controlling all the money of the world. Now, there could be a lot more money in the world. Right now, one of the money units is an energy unit. We could flood the market with a whole lot more energy units. I just don't know what to say. I don't know how to whip this up. And I'm not even sure exactly what I want to do with this. I would like to transfer this information to the rest of humanity. I would like to just twinkle my nose and everybody gets this. And then we just move to a different paradigm. But it's not going to work that way. And somehow in this, there's a nugget of opportunity. Opportunity instead of thinking of it as difficulties or impossible mountains to climb or opening doors that won't budge. I don't know. I can think of it as a bad thing. It seems like a bad thing. We are committing the 6th mass extinction on planet Earth, and that's not okay, people. It's not okay. I love my planet so much. The life forms on this planet are breathtaking. I want to love them. I want to make friends with them. I want to get to know them. I want to see the intelligence in their eyes. I want to watch them as they soar or run or play, or I don't want to see them die. I don't want to be the ones killing them. You know, I've always had a problem with feeling emotions for big things. You know, crying for the Holocaust, bawling at... I gotta do something about this chair. That's gotta come onto the audio. I don't know what to do about that. Find the squeak and saturate it in WD-40. We tried to do that once. Couldn't really find where the chair was squeaking and just ended up making the room smell like WD-40. Sorry, forgive me. I also have a chirp going on right outside my office. It's a smoke detector, and if it keeps doing that, there it was. I apologize. It is going to keep doing it. And now I've directed your attention to it. Sorry about that. So who am I? Who am I? I think it's a legitimate question, and I keep doing it kind of academically. But at some point, I'm going to get fierce and passionate about this. Because I really believe that all of humanity's problems can be solved. And actually, if you take the problem-solving equation that Abraham gives us, you could do that. Step 1, life has caused me, this big, fat aspect of contrast has caused me to ask for more. And it's done it with all of us, actually. We have a collective vortex. If we just go get it, we could be off fossil fuels, we could be on to source energy, we could be playing with this world in a way more productive and sustainable way. Right now, we are creating momentums and laying down further and further tracks of momentum down avenues that are not sustainable, which means they are going to come unraveled. And all that implies, all of the action, the pain, the death, the destruction that will imply. When that comes down, it ain't coming down easy. So where do we go from here? I don't know. I'm going to reach out to the world. I want to tell you something, but I also need help with this. I can't get us off fossil fuels all by myself, sitting over here just talking to myself. But I wish people would understand that it's possible, that we need to get really freaky about this. We need to get a bit, what would the word be? So here's the problem. The energy, the way the energy flows, is both the solution and the problem. The problem being when you jazz people up from a negative point, like, we've been duped. We should be horrified at the destruction we're raining down on I'm plugging us into a negative thing. I'm getting you to be horrified, and I'm motivating you through your fear, and which is fine. I mean, the problem is that when you engage through fear, you've unplugged from source, and so then for that moment, you actually aren't taking the best impulses or in a positive frame to be moving forward in a positive way. You're just taking the step one hit and allowing source to come into you and start showing you the answer. But at first, on that first hit of, wow, look at what I've got that I don't want, in that first moment, we're not connected to source. And now, if you want your action to come from a place where you're connected from source, you've got to get over that feeling and get into a positive one. Okay. So now when I get over that feeling, well, now I'm no longer concerned about, and since I don't have a full understanding of how all of this connects to everything, you see what the problem is? How do you connect back into source and then still have all the juice that you started with, which was a negative one in the first place, remember? Because we started this because we were afraid. We're afraid or unhappy because we're committing the 6th mass extinction on planet Earth. And you've just convinced everybody that that's true. But now we got to plug into a positive if we want to do something about it that's coming from the right impulses. People don't know how to heal the world from a place of understanding that the world isn't broken. And yet, we have what we have. The world isn't broken, and yet we have the 6th mass extinction. And yet we have global warming. And yet we have global ecological mass destruction of the biofield by the activities of humanity through their digging for oil and they're mining for lithium and uranium and fossil fuels and all of the activities that human beings do are causing the ecological devastation that we see planet-wide. Now, is the planet still a miraculous place, and are there plenty of directions you can still turn your gaze and see how magnificent it is? Yes, that's true. Do we want to wait all the way until there isn't anything left and then get it and then finally make a move? No. So just because there's still hope and just because there's still good stuff out there doesn't mean that there isn't reason for concern. Because there is. There is absolutely reason for concern. However, from our position of concern, it is difficult to fix the situation. Our problem lies in the fact that our position of concern and upset is not actually energetically the best position from which to aid and abet this situation. As we have learned from our tedious and in-depth wanderings through the energies of Who Am I, we realize that the position of upset that's a step one moment. And we've got to understand that in a way, the answer has been given. Our answers are right in front of us. And we need to allow them to come into being. Now, some of us need to allow them and others need to actively. So, things, ask and it is given, but we still have to make it real. So we have asked, the answers are given. This is the way out of the wilderness. We are in a wilderness, people. We are not at sustainability yet. And until we can take score and recognize that we are in or approaching or moving in the direction of sustainability, which we aren't yet, we're still creating things that are just going to have to come right back down. 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, yesterday, I don't know. I'm not looking at things specifically, but I'll tell you, we got plenty of things that are not sustainable. And when they are not sustainable, you can't fake the world out. You can't fake out reality. Reality is going to come and get you. If it's not sustainable, it's not going to sustain. And no amount of, looking the other way and pretending that it will is going to make it happen. What will happen is something disruptive will happen in the physical realm, be it weather or war. Hurricanes will knock it down. Bombs will blow it up, knock it down. I don't know. Neglect, if you quit looking at it and start looking some other direction, then the stuff that you don't look at anymore starts to fall down. There's all kinds of ways it's coming down. But this comes to one of my pet ideas. I really like this idea. It's a way of looking at the energies. I think it's a thing I call Shiva energy, and it's a thing I call demonic energy. And, I shouldn't say things. I shouldn't put it that way. I should just, as I start describing the world, just throw those concepts in instead of saying, I have a special concept that I want you all to understand. I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing it all for free. I'm doing it all because I'm moved to do this. You may not know what time of day it is that I do this, but I do this every morning between the hours of 4 and 7 is and it's really loose. I don't have an alarm that wakes me up at an exact time. I just wake up. And then I just start thinking about stuff. And then the next thing you know, I've walked downstairs into my office. And I'm doing, when I first started this last year, when I first started the process, I would stumble down here in the dark and keep the lights off and sit on my bed and talk to myself as these ideas, these trying to pull these concepts together within myself started stirring. And now, you know, I've made it to the show. Who Am I? I've been doing it for over 6 months. I've actually been on the air for over 6 months. But, you know, in case you're wondering why there's nobody watching, it's because it's very strange the way my show is nestled in there in the internet. My description is no description at all. And so there's no search engine optimization of any sort going on there. My description isn't a description of my show. It's a playlist of things I want other people to become accustomed to. I want them to become familiar with. They are pieces of information that are not widely disseminated. It's not exactly secret. It's not exactly, you know, forbidden knowledge. But I am definitely a person who is rattling the bars outside of normal. I'm not. I'm a little bit outside of the mainstream because there is, on the leading edge, there's never a crowd. And so I've always sniffed around the edges of where the edgy is. You know, where's the new, the edge of thought as far as, I just felt it in my own heart where that edge was actually as I discovered gurus and discovered thought forms and put them together and added things up, and I could tell what's unity consciousness used to be what I thought was, you know, and that's what I used to call it. I got that term from Deepak, I believe, in a book, The Book of Secrets. He called it unity consciousness, and I could see, oh my gosh, look at how much different this works out in your mind when you organize it in this way. There's all kinds of different ways that you can organize your thoughts, your mind, yourself, your internal self. There's lots of ways you can organize that. And as you pull together all of your bits of information and try to integrate it into a summation, as you reflect from within yourself, you reflect back outwards and you're trying to understand your world. And we all have to try to do that because we're all expected to abide in a larger context, to relate to a larger context. We are a global society. We are a global species. We really are. We're a superorganism with all kinds of systems of circulation and production, and we have a supply chain that all human beings are now connected to in some way. Every human being on the planet has connection to some sort of post office. They probably have mail service down in the Antarctic. Now, it doesn't go out every day, may not go out every week, but everyone has connection to this supply of information and goods and services and energy. And it's the energy issue that is what I'm addressing in reality. Because although this show is very psychological and very philosophical in a way, it really isn't in a way. I'm speaking to reality. I want us to understand. Wow. There is a bug running around the... Hold on, I think it's a spider, actually. But he's just going round and round and round. Huh. Hold on. So, where are we in all of this? Who am I? How does this actually work? And how can we get from where we are to where we want to be? I think we will. I think the very fact that this movie, The Lost Universe, not The Lost Universe, The Lost Century, The Lost Universe, The Lost Century, and how to reclaim it, is the beginning. Now, if I was from back in the 30s or 40s and knew this, and now it's 80 years later, and we still are not off of fossil fuels. As a matter of fact, we haven't even gotten to the point where our general society and our general education systems, our universities, and virtually how everybody is educated, we still haven't gotten to the point where they are admitting that 0-point energy that it's possible to get off fossil fuels. That over unity devices are possible. Over unity devices. Now, they use that term in this movie. A lot of people don't know what an over unity device is. But when you try to say, you can have a device that will put out more energy than you have to put in, than you have to inject to make it run. That doesn't mean it's creating energy out of nothing. There isn't anywhere where there is nothing and no energy. There is no such thing. There is no closed system. There's no... and so these devices actually are possible, and they would change everything. Everything would be changed when we understand that we can plug directly into the vacuum to run all of our equipment. We do not have to dig fossil fuels up. We do not have to create solar panels and wind turbines and nuclear power plants. We don't need to do that. But right now we're way behind. We are way behind. Are we way behind? I think we're way behind. The reason what I'm basing that on is we could have been working on this for a century. We could have a century's worth of momentum of infrastructure based on this truth instead of a century worth of it based on a lie. Based on a lie. I'll tell you what, my enthusiasm for air travel is much diminished now that I recognize how artificial a paradigm is this world, where the way we have created our technologies, the way it started was all real, but when they started lying to us and murdering people who created these devices. Now, up until this time, our consciousness has been such that all of the inventors that invented these devices, which it takes a certain kind of genius to be able to create these things. They aren't so simple that everybody's just, that it's been impossible to keep the lid on it. They aren't that easy, but they are possible. And whenever anybody would come up with one of these, they wanted to keep it to themselves. They're precious. They're precious. You know, this mad inventor syndrome, where they didn't want to let any of the information about how it worked or how it was designed out, because they're trying to keep it ultra secret, imagining the patent office is going to give them a patent on it, and then they can make tons and tons of money by their system powering the power plant or whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what all of But this has got to stop. What has to happen is the whole field needs to know this information now. It just needs to be open source. Humanity needs to know that we do not need to burn fossil fuels. And we need to shut the fossil fuel industry down. And all the people who have put all of their eggs over there in that basket, they're the ones who are profiting on this foul business. We need to just shut them right down. We need to just cut them off. Well, they'll be fine, by the way, because we'll still need to use some fossil fuel for some time until we get to the place where we truly are in sustainable mode, in sync and harmony with the rest of the life field of this planet. That's what we need to get to. And as long as I'm all balled up in emotions of discouragement or I don't know, I have been experiencing some negative emotion about all this as I look at what appears to be my real life. I'm surrounded by people who do not listen to the show, by the way. Nobody listens to the show that I know. I mean, I don't know if you're my one dependable fan. I got one person who didn't just check me out, is watching me every day. And I don't know who you are, but in spirit, in my heart and my spirit, I have great gratitude to you. I hope you don't turn out to be some sort of stalker creep. You know, I don't know who you are, but my spirit loves you and appreciates you, because otherwise I'd be sitting in this room all by myself knowing that I've just said this stuff. I can talk to myself for 2 hours on a really interesting topic, edgy, and there's nobody in the room to listen to me. You know, if it wasn't for you, but I know this information needs to get out, but I can't start a movement based on a negative emotion. I know that now. I can't get all angry and get people all resonating with me in that anger, because I know that's not going to get me where I want to go. That's step one. I have to have faith somehow that source has answered. And now I just need to get into alignment with the answer. Find the frequency of the answer. Know that it is given, and I need to find the frequency of the answer. The frequency of the answer is knowing who we are, and knowing how grand and how absolutely agreeable is the field. Now, it all depends on how you are looking at it. So depending on how you're looking at it, you may not be agreeing with me about the field being such a beneficent place, you know. You might say, the world is hard. And do you know how mean the world is? Do you know how mean meerkats are to one another at times? Do you know how mean human beings are to one another at times? Do you know how mean? Do you know? And what is the problem? What is the problem? What is the problem? Well, the problem with meerkats, I'm not sure. That was just something that my sister threw in there to me. She was telling me how, because I was trying to tell her how gentle were the processes of nature. And yet, you know, I could show you lots of video of, especially Africa is a very harsh place. Africa, the nature, African nature can be quite harsh. The mm. So how can I say that nature is kind? How can I say that nature is kind? Don't judge it, but it actually is. It actually is. The general flow of a natural ecosystem is towards abundance and harmony and synchronistic um, uh, I'm trying to think of words that describe how all of the beings within an ecosystem that's just left naturally to go, how they end up where, one creature is scratching another creature's back right and left all the time. The clownfish is, hiding in the anemone, and the remora is cleaning off the parasites from the shark, and all kinds of things in this world. We live in an amazing, amazing world. Okay, fine, I digress. What am I all balled up about today? I'm concerned because I would like to see some action, some real things happening around me. At least awareness rising, where people really understood that we are artificially being guided and nudged and encouraged, and then at other times downright forced to stay on fossil fuels. And who's forcing us to do that, or encouraging us, or fooling us, or whatever? It's the fossil fuel industry, of course, which has known for decades how destructive it is to burn fossil fuels. How we are killing Mother Earth. We are killing Mother Earth. And it's not okay. Drowning polar bears are not okay with me. And you know what? The paradigm of scarcity that we have created is what's causing pressure on things like the ivory from mature African elephants. And us killing those elephants is causing young elephants to be orphaned and cultureless. These are tragedies, people. These are tragedies. And it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. And Source has given us our answer. We have asked and Source has answered. And the answer is Source energy. Ironically, Source has answered with, hey, this is what's real. This is what's true. And I'm getting pretty irritated at the people around me. I shouldn't, but actually I can feel it making my juices run, because everybody around me thinks that I'm just talking philosophy. Oh, just let her she goes into her room, and it's at a time of the day when we're all asleep, so it's no skin off our nose. As she does her little show, who am I? Isn't she cute? Maybe we'll help her get some views on YouTube. Well, I'll tell you what, I got all kinds of feelings about this. And frustration is one of the ones I'm having today. And yesterday, too. I'm about ready to unload on my husband, who blithely continues his semi-retirement thing. Actually, he's almost completely retired, but it turns out somebody wants him to talk about something for a couple hours every month. And so, if he can make us $1,000 a month or whatever, going to talk to somebody about, and the fact that our system pays him that kind of outrageous money to talk to somebody about what I know they're talking about, I gotta roll my eyes. It's a corrupt system. I mean, it's a slanted system. It's not corrupt exactly. It's just that it's not worth that kind of money. And all it's doing is keeping the current paradigm in place. And you know what? I don't want the current paradigm in place anymore. I don't want it to be business as usual. I want us to upturn the apple cart, but not just randomly. Not just randomly. I'm not just, light my hair on fire and run into the street, and start a riot or something just for its own sake, just for the sake of destruction. I have no desire to create destruction for its own sake. I actually don't want to create destruction. I want to create creation. And as we create this one thing, it might topple a few things that are as a side effect. I don't want destruction to be the primary goal. I want construction to be the primary goal. And what would I like to construct? A sustainable world, people. A sustainable world where our cries have been answered. We don't need to be on fossil fuel. And fossil fuel is creating the problem. And I don't know how many more times and how many more ways I can say this. We need to understand where matter comes from. We need to understand the laws of the universe. And there really are laws of the universe. And they don't have to be couched in weird, superstitious, ultra-private religious forms. You make it your religion, and then it's so freaking private, and everybody's got their own little version, And then you don't talk about it. And then people don't collectively understand. They don't collectively understand the way these energies move. Who am I? Well, so if Abraham is correct and the laws of the universe are correct, and I believe they are, step 1 is I ask. Step 2 is source answers. And step 3, you gotta get into alignment with the answer. We have asked. The answer is we don't need to be on fossil fuels. We can plug directly into source energy. And then all of a sudden, there is equality everywhere. Right now, through the leverage of the International Monetary Fund and the financial systems that straddle this globe, small countries everywhere are being forced to capitalize, to generate, to turn their their world into commodities that they can put on the global supply chain of humanity and trade, because they need to trade, because they have to have energy units. Those energy units buy you everything from energy, like the power to control your climate. Maybe you're in a really hot place. Maybe you're in a really cold place, and you need to control your climate. You got to have energy for that. And you need to produce foodstuffs. You need energy for that. To plow the land, to process the goods, to package it up, to put it on there's energy is needed every step of the way. And this rethinking of energy is going to change the world. I'm over here in a backwater. That my one fan might be a guy that works for the FBI who's waiting to see whether 100 people start watching me, because if they do, they're gonna kill me and deep six all of my Who Am I shows. I don't know. If I'd have come out with this 40 years ago, they would have killed me. But now we're on the verge of this information exploding. It's out there. You can go free and easy. Go watch the show, The Lost Century and How to Reclaim It. It's the first thing on my playlist. My playlist, this is my playlist, my links list. It's right there in the description of my video. My description of my video on YouTube is not a description of my video, it's this playlist. Go watch The Lost Century and How to Reclaim It. And if you can't actually find where my playlist is and click on the links, then just look at this. We've got The Lost Century and How to Reclaim It. We got The Origin of Mass and Nature of Gravity video. We've got Quantum Revolution. That's the first episode of Nassim's 12-part series that talks about the nature of reality in the new physics, the new mathematics, the new physics that unifies quantum and cosmological spaces through mathematics. And the mathematics is a roadmap to the technologies of the future that include everything from plugging directly into source energy, that include that, all the way to gravity control and a way different transportation systems. Then we have The Connected Universe. That's another movie. All of these are on YouTube. So just go to YouTube. You're on YouTube already, or you wouldn't be listening to me. And then Living in the Future's Past. That's a movie made by, the one who's narrating it is Jeff Bridges. And it talks about us as a superorganism. We are a superorganism. And so we need to think in these terms. We need to think in terms of systems and how this actually works and who we actually are. I don't know who my one fan is. I hope you don't work for the FBI, and I hope you aren't scoping me out because you've decided that I'm possibly speaking some sort of truth that needs to be squashed in some way. Hopefully not. So who am I? Who am I? We're going to get back to this. I am a binary system, first of all. I am a binary system. And I am my eternal self. So my physical self really shouldn't be afraid because my eternal self is here forever and ever and ever and has all kinds of desires. And one of my desires is that I want us to get off fossil fuels, and I want us to understand who we are, because I think we're going to be a lot nicer to one another. It's going to be a lot more fun on planet Earth. People are going to start flowing toward the jobs they want to do. And the jobs that we don't want to do, that still need to get done, guess who's going to get to do them? Automatons and artificial intelligence. We can assign all the crap work to intelligence and action figures that are not actually alive and not going to feel bad when we make them do it. We shouldn't be pushing this stuff away. We should be designating all the crap jobs to automation and artificial intelligence. Instead, we battle against it because we think that it's going to compete with us for those crap jobs. But that's the only way I can make money, is that crap job. And so I resent the fact that automation wants to take my crap job away from me. Do you see what the problem is here, people? We are way bigger and way more wonderful than we are even giving ourselves an nth of the credit for. And that's part of what the problem is. We're assuming all kinds of dark and terrible things about ourselves and the nature of the world. And through that assumption, we're creating a world of more struggle than we need it to be. Let's get off fossil fuels, people. Let's just get off of them. Let's just know that it's possible. Light up your imagination here for just a minute. When your mind starts imagining how many freaking things are gonna change, how many things are possible, how many good things are possible. How would you like to get rid of world poverty? I don't want to see those commercials on TV anymore, begging for money to help those starving children or those abused animals. I don't want to see that crap anymore. I don't want to see it anymore, and I don't want them to just hide it from us. I want us to not be that way anymore. Why do I think that why do I think that this is going to lead to a place where we aren't mean to animals anymore? Well, when we understand who we are, when we really feel from our hearts that truth that we are the only one here, there's only one of us, that means everyone that you see is a part of you. It becomes harder and harder and harder to be anything but kind to all the creatures. You attempt to be kind. You know, when I have to kill mice, I hate killing mice. I really do. I have a hard time doing it. But, you know, the only way I'll do it is with a clean mousetrap. It's quick, it's fast, there's no poison involved, there's no secondary death level. You know, the owl or the cat or the whatever that eats that dead, you know, that poisoned critter. There's no secondary suffering event on the other side of that as the scavengers clean up the dead bodies and they're full of poison. Ugh. There's only one of us here, so be kind to yourself. That means be kind to your fellow human being and be kind to your fellow non-human being. All of that. I think that us being off of fossil fuels would make it a lot easier to be that way. I find myself in a position all the time of being in a place where I'm using a product. Perhaps, maybe I've gone into a restaurant and I've asked for my leftovers because I don't want to waste food, and they bring me a freaking styrofoam container. They bring it back in a styrofoam container. Now I can't even say, never mind, I don't want to use that. Now it's used. And there I am participating in this travesty. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Also, there's other things I don't like. I'm a student of history. And I know what happened last century. And it was terrible. And you might, see it from an abstract, but when you start studying it, when you get really close to how horrible the Holocaust was, you realize you don't ever want to see that one happening again, small or large. It's just wrong. That is so wrong, so wrong. And why did that happen? Did it happen because we're irredeemably evil creatures? No. It happened because we have a particular configuration and a particular relationship with the rest of the universe. And when we do not know what that is, and we get focused in a backwards direction, and then we lock into and become extremely clear and motivate and ambulate upon our negative emotions because we don't understand what they are and we don't understand the meaning of our world, then that sort of thing can happen when we don't know who we are. And that's why I think we need to have this show. Who am I? Who am I? And the intention is twofold. And someday I really need somebody to listen to me. It doesn't have to be everybody. It just needs to be somebody. Somebody that I ignite in their imagination what I'm really saying about this. There is so much blessed, wonderful, magical transformation. Not only possible, but underway. The fact that we have even gotten to this moment where there is this movie that I get to point to, what movie am I pointing to? The Lost Century and How to Reclaim It. The Connected Universe is another good one too because, actually in the movie, in the Lost Century, they talk about source energy. They talk about this matrix of connection that it actually is. And that's what I'm talking about, this divine matrix that connects us all. That And it's not just philosophically connecting us all. It connects us all in a really profound way. It's why I can't get away from you, and you can't get away from me. And that's why I feel called to talk to you, because you are me and I am you. We are all in this together. I'm not you and you're not me. I didn't mean it exactly like that, but there's only one of us. And our higher self is standing in a place where it's looking for the win-win. The win-win-win-win-win-win. It's not a win-lose paradigm. It's a win-win paradigm. So quit looking for the win-lose, because that's assuming a loser that doesn't have to be. It's almost like this. So I've studied the Holocaust for my whole life. Since it was so fascinating to me. I think it was probably late teens when I first started thinking about it. Definitely delved in there in my 20s, 30s. There got to be better and more shows about it. Insightful, interesting, the kind of ones that give you psychological insights into the paradigm. What the hell was that? Millions of us participated in full throttle from all sides of that equation, you know? And so much to be thought about and understood there. But when you why did I bring that up? Because a recognition of how deep it goes, of how intimately we're all involved in that. We did that, you know. We perpetrated the Holocaust. You can't just say, "Oh, Nazis did that." Those weren't people. They were Nazis. No, they were human beings. They were human beings who lost track of their humanity. Why did they do that? Well, they did that. It was actually in response to all kinds of systems that they saw around them that, oh, I could get in so much trouble. I really don't, you got to be careful whenever you talk about the Holocaust, World War II, Hitler, the Nazis. It's so hyperbolic. It's such an extreme example of the issue that most of the time when you invoke it, people cannot see the spirit sameness. They only see the vast difference in scale. They only see the how big that was. Oh man, Trump's nothing like Hitler, and Trump is not Hitler. He isn't. He's much more of a mob boss kind of a character anyway. And I don't know whether he has gotten to the point where he's ever ordered anybody's death or anything. That's what mob bosses do, and I don't know whether Trump does that. There is a psychological sameness here. But what I was going to say about Hitler, and it's always a danger to invoke his name. It's so extreme, and so many things come to people's mind when it's such a charged topic. But one of his problems was that one of his primary assumptions was that in order to be strong, in order to be successful, Germany had to be in conflict with its neighbors. Well, right there, that's a primary assumption that's off. It will prevent you from ever being in peaceful, harmonic, intercourse with your neighbors if you're assuming that you have to be at war with them in order for you to be strong. That was like a poisoned element of his thinking process right from the beginning. Where did that come from? Well, he lived in a really harsh time. And he lived in a time where things were not going well in Europe. And the World War I had a big effect on him. And then the capitulation of Germany and how the world sort of forced all the guilt of the war onto Germany. And that guilt did not feel right to Hitler. And he did not accept it, as a matter of fact. And in that, he wasn't wrong. The forces and philosophies that were at play around him, the forces of Bolshevism, communism, this philosophy of government, and then there was capitalism, and democracy was a philosophy of government, and fascism and dictatorship was a philosophy of government, and they were all sort of playing out on the world stage, each of them jostling for and sort of had to play out in a let's demonstrate through action why this philosophy is bunk and why this one won't work, and all the flaws over here in fascism, and let's reveal all the flaws of communism. And well, now we're starting to see the flaws in late stage capitalism. So what are we left with? What are we left with? Well, I'll tell you what I think we're left with. We've got to understand who we are now, who we are as individuals, who we are as a species, who we are as our biotechnology and how it functions and plays with the biofield around us, this morphogenetic field of energy and information that is playing with itself. That's what the biology is. And we are biology, and we are the universe, and we are this morphogenetic field of energy and information. And that sounds really abstract. It's like, okay, I'm a morphogenetic field of energy and information. What the hell does that mean? It means that we affect one another. It means that we can't get away from one another. It means that we're all in this together. We are truly all in this together. And what's going to even the playing field? Source energy. Source energy. We need to understand that we don't need to be on fossil fuels. That is probably my biggest single message of my discourse of who am I. We don't need to be on fossil fuels. And the reason that's number one instead of the configuration of my emotions, which is also really important, understanding that your negative emotions are not you. They are your equipment turned backwards. Who you really are is the light force coming from your source side. That's who you are. Now you have come into a physical body, and that physical body has a mind also. And depending on what it's thinking, you are either in alignment with who you really are, or you've gotten yourself backwards to who you really are. But I don't think that there is any question about who you really are, because it's who we all really are. We are source energy. We are extensions of source energy. We are all part of the play of life here on this leading edge. And the leading edge is physicality, the edge of this rolling manifestation as it unfolds, as it becomes. And interestingly, as things become, other things go. And what are you attached to? What are you identifying with? Who do you think you are? Are you identifying with parts of the physical field that are begoing? In which case, you're feeling uncomfortable. If you're part of the old paradigm, like I would start feeling very uncomfortable if I was sitting on top of the world in charge of hundreds of trillions of dollars of potential economic activity based in the realm of fossil fuels. I would be very uncomfortable. Part of me would be somewhat schizophrenic, because part of me would know that I am a part of the problem. And yet it's fueling this beautiful world filled with billion-dollar yachts and private islands and multiple mansions and jet-setting, lifestyles and all that kind of stuff. And I would know that it's built on a house of cards, and I don't know how to see my way to an imagination of a world that would be beautiful and abundant and glorious and better, that isn't doing that. I can't find my way to that imagination. I might say, "Oh my gosh, I'm Sheila Exxon and I don't know how to be different." And so I go schizophrenic. I just focus over on the sensual side, and I just throw myself into my jet-setting lifestyle, and I just completely have to close my eyes to drowning polar bears and orphaned elephants and all that kind of stuff. I would be very uncomfortable. But instead, I'm sitting in a different position. Pretty much Jill six-pack. That just means I'm ordinary Jill. My name is not Jill, by the way, but I'm a girl. I'm not a boy, so I'm not an ordinary Joe. Unless it's a Josephine. Who am I? I think that we have to, our consciousness about this question has to rise, or they're going to continue to be able to fool us. And we don't actually have to directly push back against them, I don't think. I think we can, deal with the situation, perhaps, from the standpoint of just raising our own consciousness. We get to the place where we understand, hey, plugging into source energy is possible. Over Unity devices are possible. And I'm just salivating for this world, for this new world, where we have enough energy to do everything that we need. All of a sudden, 100% recycling of everything will be so, because the energy involved is not an issue. There is enough energy to do anything that we need to do. So it appears that I have passed the hour mark some 7 minutes ago, almost 8 minutes ago. I don't know how long I'm going to go today. I feel a little bit, I've got to make some sort of move today. I know that if you are my one faithful fan, you will notice that I haven't actually changed anything in the video yet. I still have my same silly slides. My aperture slide, which is showing my source energy and my physical self. It's a really boring slide. I'm sorry. I'll go back to my chameleon. I enjoy my chameleon. I think I have more chameleons. Don't I? Yeah, I have a picture of multiple chameleons. I was trying to get a picture of looking in different directions. Trying to get a sense of your two minds, this aperture of two minds looking two different directions. That's what I was envisioning as I went and found this slide of chameleons. Chameleons are wonderful creatures. Somehow I think they are processing both of their... Anyway. Oh, what time is it? It is just after 6 a.m. Early on this Tuesday morning. Tuesday, July the 23rd. I'll be bowling later. That's what I'm going to be doing. So who am I, you may wonder? I don't know whether you're wondering this, because I don't know if the one person who listens to this show, whether they know who I am or not. I don't know who it is. I think that if they would leave me a comment, that I would get a email that says, you've got a comment. I don't know. I don't know. Something maybe would alert me to the fact that, ooh, I've got a comment over there. I don't know. I don't know. Who are you? Who are you? That's my next show. Who are you? So here we go. Here's the origin of mass and the nature of gravity. How many times can I say this same stuff over and over and over again? This is where matter, mass, and gravity come from. And our mathematical and physics understanding of this is going to bring us to the 22nd century. And you know what? I don't know what I'm going to do as my next iteration, because I can't just continue to just say these same things in a format that I'm not advertising, and so nobody's listening to it except for you and me. And even my own family doesn't get it. Doesn't get it from their passions have not been inflamed yet, as their imagination takes off with imagining our world without fossil fuel. It's going to be amazing. All of a sudden, carbon footprint is not going to be a thing. There's going to be other things that are going to be a thing. I'll tell you what they're going to be. Everybody's going to be able to just disconnect from the group in a way and go off and do their own thing. Now, they're going to reconnect with the group because they're going to want to come back online to the human supply chain with either goods or services or attention grabbers, because the internet is still a thing. We still have a universal distribution system within the human mechanism and a human supply chain of goods and services, technologies, foods, all kinds of stuff that we will still be producing as human beings. There'll still be people. As a matter of fact, there's going to be more of this, because I'm going to be able to take my source energy device and go off into the woods with my 25 goats and control my climate and produce food for me and my family using this energy supply that I now have, that I don't have to pay for with goods and services. The energy supply comes directly from God, comes directly from source, comes directly out of the 0 point energy field that is all around me. So I have all the energy I need, but I don't have everything I need. I need a cell phone, perhaps, or maybe I would like some French wine. And so I'm going to trade my goat cheese, because I got my 25 goats and we're off here up in this canyon and we're living our life, and I'm producing this good or this service, this whatever it is, these goods, honey, cheese, whatever it is I'm doing. And I'm doing it in my own way, and I put that back up on the human supply chain, and it goes around the world, and I get units that I get to trade back for my technology that I don't have or whatever. It's just going to inject so much energy in the system, so much literal energy in the system. We need to get excited about this. Maybe we need to get angry about it for a minute. Hit a deep step one moment here. Get angry that we have been duped for over a century by the people who own the fossil fuel. And they want us to keep using it. Our media is not telling us the truth about this. So depending on who you are listening to, they are not telling you the truth about over unity devices and cold fusion and all that crap. Cold fusion is not the holy grail of clean energy future. The holy grail of clean energy future is the 0 point energy field, source energy itself. That's it. And the incremental thing that's going to get us from where we are to the Holy Grail of source energy is over unity devices. Over unity devices. And first of all, we have to, in our consciousness, spread this word that over unity is possible. Over unity is possible. I should have a bumper sticker that says that. Over unity is possible. But it would probably put a target on me, because there are still forces that want to keep over unity as a secret. Oh, that's not possible. It's not possible. When you do that, you're creating energy out of nothing, and that's physics says that that's not, that runs against the which law of physics that, which one does that run against? I know it's one of those that one of them important physics people said. Well, when an over unity device is not creating energy out of nothing, that's not what's happening. It would be impossible to create energy out of nothing. But there isn't anywhere where there is nothing, and there isn't anywhere where there is no energy. And there is nowhere where what you're looking at isn't connected to everything else. Now, I know that I get passionate in a positive way about this aspect of the universe. It's holographic. It's holographic. Do you know what that means? It means all of the information of all of the universe, and I kid you not, all of the information of all of the universe is contained in every iota of the universe. It's everywhere. Because what's happening is through this cosmic jiggle of the Planck field, through this interference pattern, all of the information is being carried. Do you know how you make a regular conventional hologram? You take a laser beam, split it in two, redirect the one side through mirrors to a point, redirect the other one, have it scan an object, and then that light that scanned the object, redirect that beam back to the original one, and when those two meet, the one that was, I should have a slide of this. Actually, I can easily get a slide of this one, because I can screenshot it right out of Nassim's show about the holographic nature of the universe. As a matter of fact, that's what I'll do. I will do, as soon as I'm done with this, that will be one of my new slides tomorrow, will be the making of a hologram, of a conventional hologram, so that you can see how it relates to the quantum field and this idea that the whole universe is holographic, because the whole Planck field is jiggling together, and so the whole thing is causing this cosmic interference pattern, that through this cosmic interference pattern is contained all of the information of all of the universe. Now what's happening is, I'm just going to write the word hologram. What's happening is, across the field, all of the points are in through this jiggle they're uploading their information to the whole, and the information of the whole is downloading to the part. Every plonk, 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 every plonk. Now. Hold on. All right, I'm back, and look at what I just found. I went and screen captured this from Nassim Harameyn's episode about the holographic theory of the universe. I was going to do this later and add it to tomorrow's show, and I decided, you know what? I can do this right now. I can go find this picture. So what you can see there is you take a beam, you split it in two. One is redirected by mirrors to a location. The other one is redirected to an object, in this case an apple, and then to the mirror. And where they meet, that's where the interference pattern happens. Where the interference, and through that interference pattern, that's how all of the information is in all of it. And that's how you understand the holographic nature of the universe. Through this Planck field that is jiggling together, it's touching each other, they're exchanging information back and forth. That's how all of the information is contained in this cosmic interference pattern, in this jiggle. That's what 0 point energy is. It's the Planck field, everything interacting with everything all the time. That's what it is. So anyway, this is my new picture. Yay, I have a new illustration for my show. This is why the universe is holographic. Actually, I could probably go through those shows and get some more visuals that would help me explain the whole thing, because it's really important that we understand the true nature of our true universe and who we really are and how we really function, so that we can really function in the real world correctly. Who am I? Who am I, indeed? I like this picture. It's a whole new picture, a whole new something for me to look at. So where are we? Where are we in this story? I don't know what to think about American politics anymore. You know, I've talked about them before, not in tremendous depth or specificity. What has just happened is Biden abdicated basically on Sunday and named as his successor Kamala Harris. And although Kamala Harris is perhaps vastly preferable to Trump, is she really? And is that really democracy when the old king, as he steps down, names his successor? Is that really the way we do things in America? I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see. If her polls are terrible against Trump, then they're going to have to think of putting somebody else up. And they have a few days to think about it, because I think we're having a convention in August, and that could get wild. Anyway, who am I? Who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? Where are we going? How does this work? Who am I indeed? Actually, that's an interesting question. Who am I? And where did I come from? I think we were genetically modified. I think it's one of the reasons why we are a troubled species on this planet. We have not found our way to sustainability. That's the big thing that we ought to keep in mind, because so there's a lot of wonderful hope, a lot of wonderful things that human beings do, a lot of amazing things that work really, really well. Excuse me. But we still have a problem, and the problem is we are not sustainable. It means that what we're doing now, we cannot keep doing, because we're killing the planet. We're killing ourselves. We're killing each other. War hasn't stopped. The deserts are growing. The planet is becoming insufferably hot in places, and inhospitable in general ways, and we're not sustainable. So we need to find our way to sustainable. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. What I do know is that it's important that we know this. And then our actions, when we come together and act about it, will be different than what we're doing now. Right now, when you think that there are good people and there are bad people, and we've got to separate the bad ones out of the good ones and lock them up and punish them for their misdeeds because they are bad. Is that really true? Or are there dreadfully misaligned people in deep misunderstanding about who we are and how this works? And in their misalignment, in their misunderstanding about the nature of reality and the nature of themselves, they have gotten themselves twisted around. They're crosswise to their own energy stream. They are now destructive beings in this world. And what do they need? They need alignment. They need an intervention for sure, but it's a soothing intervention. It's a, hey, do you know who you really are? Do you know how important you really are to this equation and how important it is that you line yourself up? Because the way you're doing it right now, you are Shiva energy unto this world. You're demonic energy unto this world instead of the daimonic energy that you are meant to be. Who am I? Why do I show this picture? Well, because the neocortex is sort of the analogy to the source, to the overview mind. Back to this tired old picture here of the two minds. You are two minds. Imagine yourself, you are your physical self. And your physical self is capable of taking specific and physical thoughts. Well, I shouldn't have said physical thoughts, because whatever thoughts your physical brain is taking, those thoughts are still vibrational. They have a vibrational frequency. Now, your source mind, so your two selves, your physical self, and you have a vibrational aspect. It's you from your skin all the way to the edges of the universe. But that you doesn't actually start at the skin. Your vibrational self includes all of you too, because did you know that your physical self is also vibrational? Because the whole universe is vibrational. Every pulsing point of every atom, of every bit of matter everywhere is pulsing in and out at the level of the 0-point energy field. And it's sort of a vibration. It's a pulsing vibration. So your physical self is a vibration too. So your vibrational self does indeed include all the data and information of your physical self as well. So your vibrational self doesn't actually start at your skin and go all the way out. It starts at your core and goes all the way out. And it's vibrational. So you have this physical aspect of you and you have a vibrational aspect of you. And your physical self, your physical mind, takes its specific thoughts, and you are the one who gets to choose what thoughts your physical brain takes. Now, your thoughts are still vibrational, and they have a frequency. Wow. I should stop and cough for a second, but it keeps taking me by surprise as I take an intake of breath. I hate to pause for too long, too, because then I'll forget what I was talking about. And I might be all animated in the middle of a sentence, and then I take a pause, and then I'm like, I don't know where I was. So your two sides, your two selves are thinking. Your source mind thinks thoughts, and your physical self thinks thoughts. And they both have vibrational frequencies because all thoughts have frequencies. And did you know, if you really want to understand this world, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla said that. He wasn't wrong. We are vibrational beings in a vibrational universe. That's really important to know because it changes a lot about the meaning of interactions and the meaning of your own emotions. That's the most important thing, is it changes the meaning of your emotions. Your emotions are not just a simple read on a judgment on a condition that you observed. There may have been some judgment in the condition that you observed. That's possible. But that's not what your emotions are about. Your emotions are about who you think you are and what your relationship to that thing that you don't like is. That's what your emotions are about. And how accurately or not accurately your thoughts are being about that. Your source mind knows. Did you know that? Your source mind knows. Your source mind knows because the universe is holographic and all of the information is everywhere. And so your source mind is actually that aspect of you that can read the field around you, because all the information that you need to know about everything is right there in the field around you. How is it doing it? It's doing it through this cosmic interference pattern, this cosmic hologram that the universe is. Remember, what is this hologram? So this is the diagram of a conventional hologram. Do you see, coming from the upper right is the original beam that's split into two. To the right, you can see the beam is redirected from a mirror to an object to a mirror. And on the other side, it's just redirected from a mirror to a mirror. You see that? And when those two beams come together, there's an interference pattern. And that's the important part, because through that interference pattern, it's like all the information scatters into the whole thing, so that all of the information is now scattered everywhere. And that's kind of what the universe is doing through the Planck field, through this divine matrix, through this it's going to change the game. It is going to change the game. A literal and physical aligned understanding of this matrix that we are all embedded in, that we are all made of, that we're all a part of. It's going to make a difference, people. It is the 22nd century. It's the 21st century, by the way. It just hasn't got here yet. But the vibration is totally there. Totally there. You can feel the vibration. And you know, the vibration is primary. It means the vibration comes first. And then the material world coalesces around that vibration. So get into alignment with the vibration that has come into being. Through our asking, Source has answered. And this understanding is the answer. Who am I? Who am I, and how do I relate to the rest of the field in a sustainable way, in a joyful way, in a satisfying way? That's all the questions. That's all the questions, and Source will give you your answer. You just have to plug into Source and find what are you called to do in this situation? What is going to be your position as you help make the field around you aware that we don't have to be plugged into fossil fuels. We don't have to use fossil fuels. And when we understand how to plug directly into clean, free source energy, we can all go mind our own damn business. You want to go start a farm? Go start a farm. Who's stopping you? Buy a little piece of land and plug into Source Energy. You'll have your ability to control your own climate, to run your own farm machinery, whatever it is, whether it's milking machines or whether it's machines that help keep the milk cold, or whether it's, the machines that pick the fruit or machines that clean the fruit or whatever. And then you use your fruit to trade for more machines, but it's not operating from a position of such scarcity to start with, and this necessity to plug into this monstrous configuration around us in order to play ball. You don't have to do that. Just plug into Source Energy and go do whatever you want to do. Now, we're going to have a whole nother can of worms that's going to open up from this, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Cults and cult whackery. Now, there's going to be some places where it's peaceful cult whackery, and there's going to be other places where it's violent, angry cult whackery. Guess which one's a problem, and guess which one isn't a problem. Actually, go let people believe whatever the hell they want to, as long as their conclusions, as long as what they end up with is a peaceful, harmonious dancing with the rest of the field, it really doesn't matter. So they can believe. It doesn't matter what you believe, whether you believe in Jesus or whether you believe in the virgin birth or whether you believe in... It doesn't matter what you believe in, as long as what you believe in gets you to the place where you recognize how important peace is. Peace and love. Peaceful, loving, joyful, interactive co-creation with the players around you and the field around you. If your philosophy gets you to that place, fine. It really doesn't matter what the details are. Because if you've gotten to that place, then you are in alignment with your inner being. Because your inner being is sitting in a place of absolute peace and love and satisfaction and joy and understanding of this world. So if you get to a place of peaceful, loving, whatever, you're fine. Even if your thoughts are not exactly physically true. Did that just open up a can of worms? I'm not sure, because I'm not sure about the truth of that. I'm not sure how I think that if you get to that place where you are ultimately at peace and love, you're either correct about what you're thinking about the world, or you're not really thinking about the details of the world. And that's okay too. Everybody doesn't have to be all gobbed up in the minutia and the nerdity of all of these details that I talk about in this show. Heck, do what you're called to do. That's actually, at the end of the day, that might be the most important piece of information. Input this information about the nature of yourself and the world, and about Source Energy and who we are as Source Energy and how this mathematics adds up. Know that it is going to get us off fossil fuel, and I would rather it be yesterday than tomorrow, but today would be okay. Today is really the only day we have. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow's not here yet. Today is the day we have to get off fossil fuel. And whether it's today, or tomorrow, today, or day after tomorrow, today, or, whatever, today, it's going to be today when we do it. Once we get off fossil fuel, then we are not on an extinction track on the planet. And that is what I think I'm responding to. Extinction track. Now, I haven't gotten the latest news. For all I know, the information that I'm talking about is moving well through the field. I don't know, specifically because I don't know how to know that. and I'm not keeping score. I'm just following my own way. I'm just beaming out this bit of information because I haven't heard anything on the news saying that collectively we're moving in a different direction yet. I do know it's moving in the field. People are watching this movie. Not the movie I'm making right now. I'm talking about the lost century and how to reclaim it. And people are watching things. They're watching Nassim Haramein, and they're trying to understand his mathematics, and they're joining his group in droves. I believe he's got all kinds of mathematicians and physicists working with him right now on these ideas in these laboratories, but we need more collective support behind these thoughts. We need our national laboratories to know that over-unity devices are possible. And you know what? I think our national laboratories do know, which means we are schizophrenic. We have multiple personalities, and we have aspects of ourselves that we are hiding from ourselves. Black ops and deep black ops and blackest of black ops and, secret shadow governments and stuff. We have shit going on that is not just what our public face is. If you believe the movie The Lost Century, and I do believe it, I think that there are dark aspects of our government who already know some of these things. And I think that the light aspect of our nation needs to understand it too. We need to know that over-unity devices are effing possible. We need to collectively know it. We need to nationally scream it to the rooftops. And I actually have a great idea about that. Once our consciousness has been raised to the point that we know that these devices are possible and that they have been suppressed in the national interest, air quoting national interest, by the way, here. As soon as we know that to be true, then we can rethink this. We can say, hey, don't we have something to say about the national interest? The fact is that we all know now that over-unity devices are possible. And instead of deep sixing them, thank you very much, in order to protect the fossil fuel industry and the International Monetary Fund and the financial institutions of this world, instead, let's make it known that over-unity devices are possible, and let's inject a whole hell of a lot of new energy into the system, and let's just see where the chips fall. Let's just see how it all shakes out. Now, one thing that's going to happen is everybody who has bet the farm on fossil fuels is going to have a problem. They're going to have the same problem everybody has in a way. Their problem's a little bit different, and that is that they were counting on this, and now their specific income is gone. The good news is that there will be clean, free energy for them to go off and recreate whatever new paradigm they want to as well. That's the good news. We can all go off and do whatever we want to do with as much clean, free energy. We can at least, if I had clean, free energy, I would be able to at least control my climate and pump water from my well. Now I have 1.25 acres of land that I could have a goat, or I have trees, I have fruit trees, I have there's all kinds of things that I could do. If I had an over-unity device that just ran the equipment, now all I need to, I can control my climate, I can pump water from my well, so I've got climate control and I've got water. And I've got my land that I've paid for. And now what? Whatever. Interesting. It's going to be a whole new world, people. Right now, I have to furiously monetize just to get the energy credits so that I can control my climate and pump my water. And quite frankly, because I'm on a grid that is dependent upon all kinds of things from national order to the damn weather, dependent on all kinds of things that I do not have specific and full control of. I don't. I don't have control of things that are affecting whether or not I can continue to control my climate and have water and a share of the humanity produced food supply chain. So interesting. Now, what can happen if I had my own clean, free energy supply? I could go off into the woods, into the fields, actually, I don't have to go anywhere because I'm sitting on an acre and a quarter in an agricultural community to begin with. So if I had clean, free energy so that I could take care of whatever needed energy to take care of, I could grow food from where I am. From right where I am. I just planted 10 new fruit trees, for crying out loud. I could have fruit supplies. I could dig myself a cellar, keep it free of critters, put my fruit down in there, dry it, can it, whatever. I could do whatever I needed to do to survive if I had clean, free energy, and all of us can do that. Now, when we splinter off that way, you're going to get an awful lot of little pockets of madness are going to ensue, and little dictators everywhere are going to crop up. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a pattern that we're going to see so many times that we're going to finally see the pattern underlying the pattern. See it within ourselves. We're going to recognize, oh, that's misalignment. That's taking our binary self, twisting it around. Our physical self has imagined all kinds of crazy shit that is not true. Our inner being doesn't agree with it. Anyway, it's going to be a very interesting new world, and I, for one, am looking forward to the new problems. I'm tired of the old problems. I don't want sixth mass extinction, and I'm tired of sitting here in energy insecurity. Energy insecurity in the sense that a big storm could take all of our power down. And when the power goes down, I can't connect to this show anymore, can I? I can't broadcast to you. I can't listen back from the rest of the world what is going on from it either. I'm isolated. And from where I am, actually, my water doesn't work when I don't have electrical power here, because I'm on a well that doesn't have a tank supply. I should be developing this sort of thing, but instead I'm developing this show because I want us to get on a better source of energy, a source of energy that can't be blown away in a storm. Apparently, in the history of all of the devices that have been suppressed, there was one that was literally plugging directly into source energy with no moving parts. Solid state. And it was plugged into source energy, and how secure is that? Let the winds blow. Let the snow come. What does it matter? I can stay online. I can stay plugged in. Plugged into the rest of the field and plugged into my own ability to tame my own environment, control my climate so that my body can be comfortable and safe. What a dream, what a dream, what a dream for mankind. And did you know that it's possible? Did you know that it's possible? It is absolutely possible. So, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I think I'm going to have a conversation with the people around me, because I'm having a hard time being passionate in what I'm passionate about in a land filled with people who are pointing a completely another direction. They are not thinking in terms of how we need to change our systems, how our transportation systems of tomorrow or 5 years from now need to be wildly, wildly, wildly different than they are right now. I need to cut some more still slides from these movies that I know that the movie The Lost Century and How to Reclaim It has some beautiful pictures of the greening of the planet as we come off of fossil fuels and we come up off the surface of the planet through our understanding of gravity control. This really is the future. And it's the near future. It's not the distant future. It's like it's 1901 and I'm trying to describe to you the freeways of tomorrow. And we have just barely started to use cars. Anyway, I think I'm done with my discourse for today. I'm not sure where to go and what to do with this, except for I feel a little bit more excited about new slides as I look at my new slide here, at my picture of the creation of a conventional hologram and how that relates to the quantum field and who we are. Because we are the quantum field. The quantum field is who you are. That is your formless aspect who, through your desire, through your focused desire, can become, can have anything that you want. Anything that you want. Who am I? Who am I? It's the name of the show. It's what we talk about for 2 hours every day. We're not quite at the 2-hour mark, but I think I'm going to wind this up, and I'm going to go start hunting down some still photos from these movies that I recommend on my playlist. This one right here, my links list. And I'm going to go face my day, my small day. I know that I am both huge and I am teeny weeny. Both are me, both are okay. And both are you, and both are okay. And my prayer for us collectively and for myself individually is that we find who we are. That we find our way to sustainability, that we know who we are as the quantum field, as this harmonic interaction between the rest of the field, between us and the rest of the field. There is only one of us here, and it is the field. And with that, I'm going to leave you until tomorrow. I wish you well. I bid you peace. And until tomorrow, may the source be with you.